you, Kings fans, wherever you may be. All the frustration and disappointment of the past is gone. The 45-year drought is over. The Los Angeles Kings are indeed the kings of the National Hockey League. They are the 2012 Stanley Cup champions.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another post-game, I guess it's post-game, live here on Dime Dropper for the 2024 NBA playoffs. Before we get started, you already know the drill. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and hit the notification bell so you know every single time we post a video or I go live. Just want to say big shout out to everybody, man. We finally hit 10,000. It means a lot to me. We've been trying to reach that for a while now, so it feels really great. Let's get up to 15,000 people. Keep letting your friends know. We talk all things ball. Throughout the season, LA-centric, but it's all things basketball. We want to have a receipt for everything and eventually have a library of hoops talk and stuff out here. So the Phoenix Buns getting swept is going to be the first topic of discussion in this one. Obviously, I have not talked about Game 4 yet. And then I'm going to continue talking about some Game 4s around the league. So again, I do apologize that this feels like a delayed review or delayed breakdown. But as I said, I'm going to talk about every single game in the playoffs. I will be catching up, and I'm doing my work. We're going to talk about every game. It's going to be time-stamped, so you know exactly where to go. So let's talk about Phoenix, man. I previously said in the first 3 games when I broke them down, I said they need to basically do everything right in order to win one game against these guys, let alone the series. They need to do everything right just to win one game. And the first step is KD, Booker, and Beal emptying the clip and going out with putting up a fight. And in Game 3, I thought they laid over really weak. There was no desperation in their body language. They got killed on the glass, and the Wolves just showed every single thing that they've been showing, especially when the third quarter comes around, that Ant can't really be stopped. The Suns have nobody for him. The Wolves have much better personnel to guard the Suns' best players than vice versa. Then they have Gobert sitting down there, and they just have more depth. The Suns, their big man rotation is weak. Going up against the team that's big man rotation is probably the best in basketball right now. So there's just a lot of problems. They need KD and Devin Booker and Beal to just go off. So to begin the game, same matchups. Nurkic on Gobert to start the game. Royce O'Neal on Jaden McDaniels. Kevin Durant on Karl Anthony Towns. Bradley Beal guarding Ant primarily. And then Booker on Mike Conley. Then on the other side, Gobert against Nurkic. Ant-Man on Beal, Conley on Royce O'Neal, who was starting in place of the injured Grayson Allen, Jaden McDaniels on Devin Booker, and then Cat on Nurkic. Gobert was in drop coverage. Nurkic was kind of in a high drop against Ant. And the game started out with Booker and KD in attack mode, showing the desperation that you want to see. It kind of reminded me of Game 4 of the Nets Celtics, to seeing KD finally be the most aggressive that he's been all series when it's already 3-0. And I said that in Game 3, he went out kind of sorry. I don't think he quit this time, but in the Nets Game 3, he literally just looked like he had no fight left in him. And I grilled him a lot for that if you go back and check my post games on that series. But they were doing everything right to start this game. They got Gobert in foul trouble with a quick 2 fouls. Royce O'Neal was crashing the offensive glass. Booker and KD were super aggressive. And you saw that Vogel, he was very small ball heavy in this game. He was like, you know what? My big man rotation is weak. He didn't even play Drew Eubanks. He didn't even play him at all. Yusuf Nurkic got the time other than that. But besides that, they went full on small ball. KD at the 5 as their tallest guy. And against a team like Minnesota, that can be problematic at times. But obviously, their whole goal is to stretch the floor or space the floor, stretch out the defense, have Rudy Gobert have to, be taken away from the basket. But first quarter, as I said, attack mode for Booker and KD. KD had 8 points in the first quarter, and Devin Booker had 9 points and played the entire first quarter. As far as the Wolves, Jaden McDaniels had 8. So it felt like the Suns, they held the Wolves to 25% shooting in the first and just 11% from 3, but they were still only up by 1 point, which just showed you how hard it was for them to just do anything, really. It just shows you how much better the Minnesota Timberwolves really are as a team. So they were up 26-25 after 1. Second quarter, Bradley Beal got his 3rd foul. So they essentially played the majority of the first half without Bradley Beal. Let me check how many minutes he had. 6. Oh, they didn't actually. He still played 16 out of 24 minutes. So correction on that one. But he was taking himself out of the game with the foul trouble. He already wasn't really shooting well. The Suns, they were switching obviously 1 through 5, and they went through that small ball stuff. So it was causing a lot of mismatches. And I will say, besides Royce O'Neal, whose defense was good, Karl Anthony Towns, he was taking advantage of smaller guys, whether it be KD, Beal, Gordon, whoever it was. And that's something that we've been talking about on this channel for years now with Cat. If he is aggressive, taking advantage of mismatches, because the Suns, they have no big forwards outside of KD, and KD is too light in the ass to guard Cat when he's trying to be, a physical big. So the way he played in that series, the Suns series, this is the Karl Anthony Towns that is worth that number 1 pick. That is potentially going to live up to his. That's going to live up to his potential if he continues like that, and maybe be a second option on a championship team down the line. He was being really aggressive. And it wasn't just like posting up every time. Sometimes he would just catch the ball a little bit further from the basket, a little further than I would like, but against a smaller guy and just go right into their chest and score, putting the ball on the floor, because he has that ability to put the ball on the floor like that. So really aggressive stuff from Cat. In the second quarter, he had 10 points on 4 for 5 shooting. Gobert also had 7 points in the second quarter. So the Wolves the Suns outscored the Wolves 35-31 in the second. And again, a lot of it was KD and Devin Booker. KD had 12 points in the second. Booker had 10 in the second. So those two were just really carrying the load for Phoenix. Jusuf Nurkic, I actually think in this game, he was not bad like in game 3. He showed his size was effective at times against Gobert when he was around the basket, just putting his hands up, just having a 7-footer out there was affecting some things. And obviously he is a good rebounder, but doesn't really offer anything on the roll. And with those 3 guys on the team, they're not going to look to Nurkic to post up really like that. So, he's just not a starting center on a good team. But yeah, second quarter, the Wolves got outscored 35-31 by the Suns. Phoenix was competing, but the Wolves' size is just a lot for them. It really is. At halftime, score was 61-56 in favor of Phoenix. Devin Booker hit a nice buzzer beater to end the first half. Jaden McDaniels had 11 points at halftime. Karl Anthony Towns had 15 at halftime. Ant-Man was only 2 for 8. And then for the Suns, KD had 20 and Booker had 19 at half. Beal, 5 points on 2 for 7 shooting. So he was not showing up to the party. Now, third quarter. This is the one that the Timberwolves had a ton of success against the Suns throughout the series. Well, this time the Suns kind of withstood any avalanche by Minnesota in the third. And part of it was because they got Rudy Gobert to get his 4th foul 55 seconds into the quarter. So he did not play the rest of the third quarter. Karl Anthony Towns was in drop coverage versus KD and Book, which at times, as you know, can be problematic. Getting into their pull-up, moving without the ball well, attacking the basket, attacking the paint relentlessly, which they should have been doing from game 1. I don't know why it took them. KD was good in the first game, but it took them till game 4 to really try to get downhill all the time. And yes, Gobert being in foul trouble helped, but still, it really was different in my opinion. Now, on the other side, Cat's posting up KD, being super aggressive, as I was talking about, and then Ant-Man. And this whole time, I'm watching the game, and it just feels as though, and it's been the theme in the series, all they need is Ant-Man to get hot and take over for a stretch, and they're going to win the game. Because they just have way too much depth. Their defense they're just making the Suns work so much harder than what they have no one to guard Ant and Cat. They got Bradley Beal as the primary defender on Ant-Man, and they're like, you're going to get torched. And the fact that Beal, I give him credit, he's playing much better defense than I've seen him play in the last couple of seasons. But if Bradley Beal is your best bet to guard Anthony Edwards, you are fucked. There's no way you can win. And then they don't have anybody to guard Cat. And it's all about Cat being aggressive, and he was doing that. But Ant-Man hit 2 straight threes to tie the game at 66. Wolves went on an 8-0 run. Phoenix called timeout. Now, after that, they just kind of traded baskets for a bit. It was basically the Ant-Man and Cat versus Book and KD show. Phoenix went small for the majority of it to, as I said, spread the offense and stretch out the defense. And as I said, it was those guys going to work. Cat had 11 points in the third. Ant-Man had 15 in the third, which accounted for 26 of the 34 Wolves points in the quarter. And the Wolves were only +3 in the third. After every other third quarter was a much bigger difference. KD had 11 in the third. Booker had 18. So they had 29 of the 31 points in the third quarter. At this point in time, Bradley Beal was 2 for 10, completely non-existent. But you know what was hurting the Suns was the offensive rebounds for Minnesota. They have more size, more athleticism, and that was always going to be a killer throughout the series. And you know what I always say? My man, Pat Riley, my coach and idol, no rebounds, no rings. And the Suns going small, that also contributes to this. So, fourth quarter, season on the line. What do the Suns have in them? Well, Royce O'Neal didn't feel like he could make an open three all game. Let's see what he ended with. 2 for 6 from 3. So, okay. One of those, it could have gone a long way. Royce O'Neal was 2 for 7 in the game, played 37 minutes, 6.6 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. I think he definitely helps defensively for them. But, yeah, he's okay. Nurkic, he had this one nice deflection. So basically, it was Frank Vogel going between small ball and then Nurkic in. He had a deflection that led to a Booker 3, and then a timeout was called by Minnesota. This is, of course, in the fourth quarter. Then there was one stretch, though, where Rudy Gobert had 2 straight possessions of just clamping Devin Booker. One time, he was in drop coverage, and he stepped up and blocked a shot at the foul line. Then another time, he got switched on him at the perimeter, and Booker just could not get by him. So that's just really impressive stuff from the soon-to-be Defensive Player of the Year. And this game was definitely the best game of the series. You know, no, the other games, the Wolves kind of just pulled away in the third quarter of each. But this one, no team had led by more than 6 like the entire game. The Suns chose to go small with their season on the line for the last 5. I think, you know, I don't have really a problem with that decision. But Ant-Man just took over. You know, 8. How many points did he have in the fourth quarter? He just started going ballistic. Like, took over the game. 16 points in the fourth. I mean, this guy's just special, man. Well, you know, besides the skill, obviously 3-level scorer, solid handle, insane athleticism, it's the confidence and the mindset and the fact that he's gotten better every year that separates him and makes me think he's going to be the best player on a championship team one day. And it might be for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Probably will be. And that's just, as I said in my video, my recent video, if you haven't checked it out, I think everybody that's subscribed to me at this point has checked it out. 11,000 views. Shout out to everybody that's been commenting on that and showing me love for it, because pouring my soul out in those videos is not easy. It's a very vulnerable position with, you know, this is the first time I've seen my videos getting retweeted on Twitter and people screen recording and stuff. Wild. I don't know if I liked all that attention, but anyway. Yeah, what was I even saying? Lost my train of thought there. Yeah, the Ant-Man. I'm so jealous of having a franchise player like that. You know, he can get to the rim whenever he wants, and the way he just took over this game with his 3 balls starting to get hot, he can really heat up in a hurry. That's the thing about the Ant-Man. He's just got that dog, that relentlessness. I mean, special player, man. We're seeing it happen right in front of our eyes. You can hear Reggie Miller saying, superstar in the making with this guy. I mean, he's special. And he was the best player in the series, and he is the best player in the series. I'll take him over Book now. He's going over KD in the rankings. He owned them. He has a better supporting cast, but he owned them. In both ends of the floor, special. Absolutely special. So I'm a big fan, honestly. I'm a really big fan. What's crazy is that Ant-Man even said himself he doesn't even love watching the NBA. But he is such a talent, leads the right way. His enthusiasm is amazing, and his game is amazing. And as I said, he just passes the eye test of one of those guys. 22 years old. He's 3 years younger than me. Dude, that feels insane. So he's just special. And then is there anything else to say about this game? Oh, yeah. One time the Suns doubled, I believe it was Cat in the post. Because, again, they're small. So there's doubling Cat in the post. The Wolves did a really good job of swinging to an open Jaden McDaniels 3 in the corner. Huge shot. And then this is where the game really turned for me. Bradley Beal had a stupid turnover where the Suns swung the ball. I posted it on Twitter. Suns swung the ball. And this is that analytics ball. People say, oh, analytics doesn't support you passing up mid-ranges if you're good at them. But you know what the problem is? etched into these guys' brains that we need to take threes. 3 is more than 2, and they're not playing reactive basketball. They're playing like predetermined ball. These guys are getting run off the three-point line, and Bradley Beal has an open floater or pull-up mid-range, and instead he passes a cross baseline bounce pass to the opposite corner to KD that gets intercepted. And the Wolves, they're an amazing defensive team. Better, I think this team is better than the 2022 Celtics defensive team. They're one of the best defensive teams I've seen in a long time. I would have to think back. Maybe, 08 Celtics we're talking. Geez, we're going back that far. That's how good they are. Miami Heat were pretty good defensively, but these guys just have more. And they're running guys off the line. That starts the turnover, but Bradley Beal's got to take that shot. And then the following possession, it just slips out of his hands and then he fouls out. It was a disgraceful performance by Bradley Beal. 5 turnovers in the fourth quarter for one guy. And then taking yourself out of the game like that. He went out of the game, and that's the only time he really showed emotion. But I've said it for a while, man. Bradley Beal is not that hungry to win anything. And that's it might be harsh to Suns fans because it was the first year and he's dealt with injuries. Watch what Wizards fans were saying about him towards the end. I was paying close attention. He did not do much in his part to get them further along in 2022 after Russ had left. It just showed me. I watched every single game damn near the first half of that season with Russ. And it was Russ turning it around that got the Wizards to that playoff spot. Beal was a consistent 30, and it was the most ineffective 30 I'd ever seen. The guy is a very solid player. I was a big fan of him early on, but he doesn't exude I'm starving for a championship in any way. And that's what, as much as I grill the Phoenix Suns, I'm going to shit on them as this video continues. Their fans are starving for a championship. They haven't won a championship, and they've been the closest. Of all the franchises without a ring, they have been the closest. So to me, these guys, guys like Beal, taking yourself out of a game and playing with that little of urgency in a do or die game, when you're about to get swept. It's just disgraceful in my opinion. It's ridiculous. Truly ridiculous. It was just, oh my God. And then Book and KD, I can't really blame them for this particular game. Just that they have nobody that can guard Ant-Man, and they have everybody in the world. They kill Alexander Walker, who closes the game over Cat, and they got him, Conley, Ant-Man, and McDaniels and Gobert out there guarding. It's just going to be so hard to get good shots. And then Book had a pretty dumb foul down 4. A couple minutes to go in the game. He pushed Conley, and that led to Conley running into Chris Finch, who was down for the count. I don't know what his injury actually ended up being. What was it? Because I've been tuning out of news to just avoid Game 4 stuff. But yeah, Ant-Man had a couple of buckets late that closed the game. It was just amazing what he did. KD was just 1 for 3 in the fourth, so you definitely needed more. Booker had 12 points in the fourth, so I really got no complaints about him. And Beal was just 2 for 3, so he was starting to get into it. But the thing is, it just feels very take-turnsy for Phoenix. It feels like their 3 players just don't mesh super well. And it was exactly what I said before the season. Like, what I said all season about this team is exactly what it was. It's a very redundant big 3. They all are score-first guys that are good passers at best, but none great. They're all mid-range killers, which I love, but they all score in very similar ways. They don't get to the rim enough. They love the pull-up midi, which is fantastic. I love that, and it's big for the playoffs, but they all are solid without the ball, but none of them are great table setters. None of them are great passers. I've seen Book's amazing improvement passing over the years, but it's not great, and you still want him in score mode. They just don't complement each other very well. It's very take-turnsy. That's 3 guys that you don't want guarding the best part of the other team. So ideally, I guess you want one really good 3-and-D guy next to them, and then what about a point guard? Do they want a guy to take the ball out of these guys' hands? It's so redundant. No team in NBA history has won a chip like this. Their big man rotation is the worst of any playoff team. And they're strapped for cash because of Beal and how much he's getting. The guy's getting $50 million. It's just ridiculous. Well, the Suns getting Bradley Beal, I just think it was the wrong business move. It was just the wrong move. He's better than Chris Paul. But then the trading Ayton for this, bad business completely. And now they're stuck. And it's like, you really got to think about Booker's prime. You got to maximize Booker's prime. And it's really funny to watch it, I will say. Getting swept, that's embarrassing. You can't get a game. You can't get one game. I had you guys taking this series to 7 just because I respected Booker, Beal, and KD so much. I got to stop respecting these bozos. I saw the evidence all year that Minnesota was way better. These guys are clowns getting swept like that. And it's funny as fuck to see Phoenix getting swept. I will say, it is funny. Devin Booker has not beaten one healthy team ever. He always beats a hampered team. Get a series win against a healthy team, brother. And I'm a big Devin Booker guy. I've had him in my top 10 in the league for 4 years. Oh, he's going to have to drop. And just playing well in game 4 does not cut it for me. And the Suns, a lot of it was they couldn't rebound at the end of the game. They couldn't rebound. And yeah, the Wolves are just a better team, a much better team. They won it 122-116 to sweep the Suns. Unbelievable, showing everybody they are not just a regular season team. They are here, and they're showing you that they're a great team, and they're making an amazing leap. It was my first time watching the Minnesota Timberwolves win a playoff series because 2004, I was just 5 years old going on 6. So I did not remember, I didn't watch basketball yet. So yeah, this is my first time seeing the Wolves win a series. It is amazing. And we'll see. Denver and them, it's going to be an amazing series. I haven't even watched game 1, so we'll be talking about that at some point this week. But yeah, final score is 122-116. Congratulations to the Wolves and all their fans. In the fourth quarter, the Minnesota Timberwolves outscored the Phoenix Suns 32-24, and that would be the difference in the game. They shot 58% from the field and 56% from 3 in the quarter. Let's read the lines first for the Wolves. Kyle Anderson played 17 minutes in this game, and he had 4 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and no turnovers. Solid impact from Slow-Mo, 2 for 5 from the field. And then you had Naz Reid, who played 19 and a half minutes, 8 points, 3 rebounds. One of the quieter games for Naz, 2 for 4 from the field and 1 for 2 from 3. Nickeil Alexander-Walker played 31 minutes, 5 points, 3 boards, 4 assists, 2 steals on 2 for 9 shooting and 0 for 5 from 3. So he just did not have a good shooting game, but his defense is so crucial for this team. So he can never really play bad to me. And then Mike Conley. All the starters played 25 minutes or more. Mike Conley, 10 points, 4 boards, 7 assists, 1 steal, 2 turnovers, but he did not shoot well at all. 2 for 10 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3. The thing about Conley is he plays the right way. He plays smart basketball, and he's going to compete on defense. So his 2 for 10 is not really that felt, and that's a great guy to have. And then Jaden McDaniels, what a series he had. That quote by by Ant, we got Jaden McDaniels. I mean, that aged really well. He was amazing, and he showed the whole basketball community that maybe we all took for granted that or underestimated what the loss of Jaden McDaniels meant last season. So, yeah, he is crucial. 18 points on 6 for 12 shooting, 1 for 4 from 3, and 5 for 5 from the line. And then Gobert. He was in foul trouble, so he only played 25 minutes, but his impact was still felt. This was, in my opinion, the best playoff series of Rudy Gobert's career. He was spectacular and showed everybody that when surrounded by a good perimeter defense, he can look like a true stopper. And I'm saying this as a hater. 9 points, 5 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 4 turnovers, though, for Escar Gobert, 3 for 9 from the field. So a shitty offensive game, but defensively, he's a presence and a half. And then you have Karl Anthony Towns, who had an amazing series, 28 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, and no turnovers on 11 for 17 shooting, 4 for 6 from 3, 2 for 3 from the foul line in 39 minutes. The dude was just amazing in the series, taking advantage of the fact that nobody could really guard him, including Kevin Durant. And then the Ant-Man, 40 points, 9 boards, 6 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and 2 turnovers. He was amazing. 13 for 23 shooting, 7 for 13 from 3, 7 threes, 7 for 10 from the foul line in 41 minutes. That dude is just, he's a dude. There's not much else to say. He's amazing. Wolves shot 46% from the field, 42% from 3, 81% from the foul line. They shot 15 more shots than the Suns, won the offensive rebounding battle 17-10, and the overall rebounding battle won 44-33. No rebounds, no rings. Congrats to the Wolves. For the Suns, Nasir Little played in this game. 7 minutes, had a donut. I mean, if he's playing in your rotation in the playoffs, I think that says a lot. No offense to Nasir Little. 0 for 1 in 7 minutes. Josh Okogie, I did mention he played well in some parts of game 3. So we're going to see if he gets minutes in game 4. He did. 14 minutes. He had 4 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. 2 turnovers on 2 for 3 shooting, and 0 for 1 from 3. Not much to say about him. Then EJ. 6-man role, played 39 minutes, 6 points on 2 for 7 shooting, and 2 for 5 from 3. I think he's incredibly washed. I think maybe he should play one more year, too. But he's done. Love Eric Gordon, though. Then the starters for the Suns. Nurkic played 20 minutes, the least of all of them. 9 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. So that sounds pretty productive, but he had 5 turnovers, 3 for 5 from the field, 3 for 4 from the foul line. There was one time where he got the ball right under the basket and was scared to shoot. It was ridiculous. They got to make him a bench player or trade him. Then you got Royce O'Neal, already mentioned his stat line, and then the big 3. Bradley Beal, 9 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists, 1 block, 6 turnovers on 4 for 13 shooting and 1 for 5 from 3 in 31 minutes. I think Bradley Beal is that's a disgrace, man. That's just a disgrace. He just doesn't, not a guy I would care to have on my team. He just doesn't seem like he wants it that bad. And he just can make a couple nice mid-ranges and threes here and there. Can get a couple of buckets, but I admire him for the defensive resurgence this season. But God, he's the biggest issue to me with this Suns team. I really believe so. Like, besides the fact that their center rotation is trash, they don't have a point of attack guy. Like, to me, his contract is going to hamper this team so much. He's not a guy I would want to have. They need a much better fit third option, whether a good big or a good point guard. He is not the guy. Just having another guy that wants to shoot pull-up mid-ranges and some threes and can't get the rim enough is just not it. It's just not it next to KD and Book. It's so redundant. And I don't know how Book and KD are like, they got to take major blame for this as well. Because like just approving this move and being like, yeah, that's cool. Bring Brad along. We're just gonna have more ball. It's like the ball don't stop dream team. It's just really weak in my opinion. Let's look at Bradley Beal's series stats. 16.5 points on 44% from the field and 43 from 3. I mean, 16.5. We said he has to average 20 plus. So he failed in that regard. How about the stats in this game from KD? He went out swinging. I'll give it to him. 33 points, 9 boards, 5 assists, 4 blocks. So one thing about KD, and he played 46 minutes and 18 seconds. 12 for 17 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, but 7 for 9 from the foul line. That's a little weird. I think KD played very well in this game. He gave it everything he had. But I think in game 3, he just did not show enough. Game 2 wasn't desperate. He just didn't play well enough. But game 3 just did not show that same desperation that he did in game 4. And it's like you're already down 3-0, dude. I mean, KD, let's see what he averaged in the series. 27 points, 6.5 rebounds, 3 assists on 55, 42, 82 splits. The 82 is bad for him. But 55% from the field is amazing. 42% from 3. But if you're really shooting 55% from the field, then you should be shooting way more than he was shooting. The fact that you're not averaging 20 shots a game, he's not averaging close to it, by the way. 67 divided by 4. All right. I don't have all day to think about that. So 15 times 4 is 60. So 16 times 4 is 64. So there you go. We're close to, that's not enough. That's not enough, man. He should be averaging 30. It's not good enough. I don't care how efficient he was. It's just not good enough. The thing about Kevin Durant is this. Let's just be honest about him now. Let's just go into it. I told everybody about him. He's not going to win a championship as the clear-cut best player in his entire career. He's not. People are going to be arguing about that, who's better between him and Steph on that Golden State team for decades from now. He just is not a galvanizer. He's a guy that comes in and leads by example, but he's not like a great leader of men in any way to me. He just lets everybody go do their job, and like he's work ethic is some of the best we've ever seen in the history of basketball, but he doesn't make anyone better to me. He's amazing to play with. I think he's a guy that fits seamlessly everywhere because of his off-ball ability, and he doesn't ball pound too much, but he doesn't elevate anybody on his team to me. I guess he would elevate players that need the ball in their hands so bad. But it's funny because Booker and Beal kind of need to be given the ball in more favorable situations as opposed to being distributors. I just think KD, he gets his buckets. He goes out there and clocks in, but he doesn't look like I've been saying it for years, and Flea said it on the Four Sportsmen throughout the year. He does not look like somebody who's starving to win a chip. And all his comments on social media and in press conferences reflect that. He's just like, I'm going to give it everything I got. If we win, it's not a big deal. I'm already stamped, and that's it. And I just think the Phoenix Suns fans deserve better because they haven't won a chip. Like, have some sort of pride in that. I just think Kevin Durant doesn't show that for me. This series felt eerily similar to that Nets series. I think in that series, he only had one good game. And in this series, he had two in games 1 and 4. But it just wasn't enough. Just wasn't enough. You didn't get a game, bro. That's fucking embarrassing. And Kevin Durant's gone to choose his team for the last 8 years, bouncing around from team to team, teaming up with a bunch of stars. Like, he's just his legacy is just, to me, as incredible of a player as he is. And I've been blessed to watch it from day one. It's just embarrassingly not impressive in terms of what he's actually accomplished. His game is amazingly impressive, but he is so, like, to me, on an all-time scale, he is overrated. Don't ever compare him to Larry Bird because he looks more aesthetically pleasing with his dribbling and stuff like that. Like, it's incredibly disrespectful to Bird. It's just, let's not do that anymore. He's not Curry. He's not Olajuwon. And I'm going to go as far as to say he's not even Jokic. He's not. I would take Dwayne Wade over Kevin Durant. How about that? I would take Dwayne Wade over Kevin Durant all time. Longevity, KD, but I'm taking D Wade. Now let's talk about D Book, who I think in this game, he did everything he could. 49 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals and a block, 2 turnovers on 13 for 21 shooting, 3 for 5 from 3, and 20 for 21 from the line. I mean, talk about aggressive. Book went out swinging. I give him all the credit in the world. But I will tell you this, he was not good enough in the first 3 games. His series average got averaged out to 27.5 and 6 assists. He shot 49% from the field, 35 from 3. The fact that he had to get a 49-point game to have a 27.5-point average, that tells you he was not good enough in the first round. He was not good enough in this series. And last year, he was fantastic in the playoffs, but he was not good enough. And to me, my biggest thing with Book was his defense didn't look nearly as good. And I just think he goes out a little sad sometimes. Game 7, he went out sorry against Dallas. This was week 2. He's going to have to get dropped on my rankings. But I still think Devin Booker is one of the best players in the world and, like, has a chance to be a top 2 player on a championship team. I just don't know if he's that guy to be the best player on a championship team. I think if I'm the Suns, I would definitely want to keep KD and Booker around. But, like, Beal, is he non-tradable? Does he have a no-trade clause? Like, I would just try to do whatever I can. But, like, who want that contract, dude? They're going to have to just find a way to get better around them. But they're in a tough position, just like my team is. But anyway, that's it for them. Sorry-ass motherfuckers. Get the buns out of here. Boo. All right, now we're going to be talking about Game 4. This was a great one. Great one. Knicks and Philadelphia 76ers. This was the best series of the first round, undoubtedly. And I really enjoyed this Game 4. Now, Kelly Oubre, same thing, guarding Jalen Brunson primarily, Embiid against Hartenstein, Maxey against Josh Hart, Lowry against DiVincenzo, Tobias Harris on OG Anunoby. On the other side, Hartenstein on Embiid, Hart on Maxey. So not OG on Maxey, Hart on Maxey, OG on Tobias, Brunson on Lowry, and then DiVincenzo on Kelly Oubre. Both bigs in drop coverage, 76ers switching 1 through 4 on Brunson. So that includes Maxey, that includes Tobias. And early on, it was Embiid dominating around the basket, dominating from the perimeter, getting to the foul line, low post, passing out of the post. He was everywhere. 10 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and such good defense and drop coverage from Embiid in the first quarter. But Brunson, who had his best game of the series so far in Game 3, started to cook more than ever in Game 4. And the amount of Knicks fans, because it was a weekend game, was even higher than before, than in Game 3. And it was, like, disturbing how loud it was for the Knicks. I mean, just crazy. And Brunson, you know how he's a drop coverage killer. Oubre has done, and Maxey and them, they've done such a great job on him throughout the series so far. But you just know it's a matter of time before Brunson hits those contested mid-ranges, those step backs, those floaters. He's just so crafty and patient weaving in that pick and roll and snaking it and stuff like that. He'll always get a great shot. I love the way he posts up for a guard. It's very, old school. But Embiid, Brunson, these guys were standouts in the first quarter. I think the 76ers defense to the point of attack was very good and drop coverage very good. But the Knicks still were getting open shots and missing. However, the Sixers were making him work for it, and this is in the first quarter, making them go to options, B and C. But, honestly, throughout the game, this was a pretty strong defensive battle from both teams. But at one point of the first quarter, the Sixers went on a 7-0 run to make it 27-15. So they actually got off to a pretty good start in this one. After the first quarter, the Sixers were up 27-17. Jalen Brunson had 12 of the 17 for the Knicks. For the Sixers, Tyrese Maxey only had 2 shot attempts in the first quarter, and Embiid had 10. And as I mentioned, 10, 6, and 4. So he got off to a good start. And Tobias Harris had 6 points in the first. So on pace for a 24-point game. Second quarter, the non-Embiid minutes did not go great. And that's something that we've seen in this series, that the non-Embiid minutes can be a little shaky, and that's totally normal given just how good he is. And Jalen Brunson had 11 points in the second quarter, continuing to weave his way in that pick and roll. But the non-Brunson minutes didn't look great either for the Knicks, because remember, they really have no other shot creators outside of him in this series. Deuce McBride, he's been such a standout for the Knicks. It's just been amazing how well he's played and how well he shot the ball in this series. Comes in and hits 2 straight threes in that second quarter. Amazing to see. And he had 8 points in the quarter. Now, on the Sixers side of things, Maxey was starting to hit a couple of jumpers and get going finally. Lowry had a transition 3. And as the second quarter went on, Isaiah Hartenstein made Joel Embiid settle for some jumpers. So that was uncomfortable. And by the way, no Mitchell Robinson in this game, out with that injury where Embiid hurt him. So that was giving Precious Achiuwa minutes off the bench. So in the second quarter, the Knicks outscored the Sixers 30-22. Tyrese Maxey had 10 points in the second quarter and played the entire thing. Embiid was 0 for 2 in the second quarter and had 4 points. So they did a pretty good job. The Knicks held the Sixers to just 26% shooting in the second quarter, but 57% from 3, because Tyrese Maxey hit 2 threes, and then Kelly Oubre and Lowry got 1 each as well. So at halftime, the score was 49-47 Sixers. So a very close game, neck and neck. Hold on 1 second, guys. Let me just put the charger in my computer because it's going to die. Hope you guys are enjoying the live. I'm sorry it's a delayed broadcast or whatever, but we're trying to talk about every game here, man. It's no joke. Last year, we didn't talk about Minnesota, Denver, games 3 through 5. And honestly, I wish I did, given that it was foreshadowing for this season. By the way, super chats are turned on. If you guys want to drop $1 a dime, any donation is appreciated for your boy. Working hard out here. Don't get paid enough for it. But anyway, let's go. Second half, though, I'm looking at this game totally from a Sixers fan's perspective because it's their season on the line, essentially. And they blew game 2. They literally just handed it to them. So they start out the third quarter meaning business. 10-0 run. Just classic Maxey and Embiid, just playing the right Sixers basketball. But Jalen Brunson weathered the storm, and he was just constantly in attack mode all game. I love how aggressive he is. And that's something, I've seen a lot of Clipper fans talking about how annoying it is that Paul George doesn't have even close to the same kind of motor and stuff like that or aggression level. And Brunson, that's why he is now solidified his superstar status. And actually, I'm going to wait for what I'm going to say next, but he was in attack mode in that drop coverage. The mid-range, his crafty finishes off the glass. Now, the Sixers, they had so many good chances to extend the lead with open threes, and they just missed, so many times. On defense, they were switching 1 through 4, as I said. Brunson was looking to mainly go at Tobias Harris and Cameron Payne. And what really helped the Knicks was 2 DiVincenzo threes in a row in that third quarter. So in the third quarter, the Knicks outscored the Sixers 30-27. OG, Josh Hart, DiVincenzo, and Brunson played the entire quarter, and Hartenstein played 10 minutes and 35 seconds. So essentially, they went with the starters the entire quarter. Brunson had 15 points in the quarter and 3 assists, and then DiVincenzo had 8. As far as the Sixers, Oubre and Embiid played the entire third. Maxey played 10 minutes and 40 seconds. And they shot well in the quarter, 50%, 33 from 3, though. So as I said, so many good chances. Maxey 0 for 3 from deep in the third. And some of them were good looks. Kelly Oubre, even though he made 2 threes in the third, his 2 misses were also just good opportunities to go up. He had 8 points in the third, and Embiid had 12 in the third, and 8 of them came from the line. So he was getting to the line, just shamelessly grifting, but doing a good job. And, you got to do what you can do at this point. But what really stood out to me was the offensive rebounds for the Knicks the end of the quarter, and one of them led to a Brunson and one. The Knicks had 3 offensive rebounds in the third to 0 for the Sixers, and a lot of those are just Josh Hart, to be honest. Like, the guy is just looking like the most amazing role player you could ask for right now. He's been insane in this series so far. Now, fourth quarter, do or die mode. 5 straight points for Cam Payne to begin it. Big transition 3. But again, they consistently miss good looks, the Sixers. And then Brunson hits an insane shot over Embiid, right leg off balance going to his right. Just amazing. The shot making is incredible. And Josh Hart's so good on defense, whether it's rotating, closing out. And this is when you started to see a change in the Knicks' defensive strategy. They put OG Anunoby on Embiid, and we've seen what smaller guys that can get into Embiid can do, push him away from the paint and get underneath him. Super chat turned on. Thank you so much. Burner account 3 says, huge Lakers fan, but love your take on basketball. Thank you so much, man. Remember, if you want me to read your comments right away, go ahead and hit the super chat. Thank you so much. But yes, OG Anunoby on Embiid. So you saw a lot of fronting, a lot of him just trying to make the catch harder. And the Knicks did a good job of putting on ball pressure as well. So it made it so much harder to get the ball to Embiid. So really impressive there. But that's no excuse. You cannot be letting OG Anunoby post you up. You got to push. And again, it's like, is he injured or is he not? Like, that's the dilemma. Can Embiid, is it that he's not fighting hard enough for post position? Or is it that he's not healthy enough to fight hard enough for post position? Because it's not good enough. Deuce McBride was still hitting in the second half. I mean, this guy is just unbelievable, unrelenting. 5 points for Deuce in the fourth quarter. Now, rebounds was just such a huge takeaway in this game. No rebounds, no rings. 7 offensive rebounds in the fourth quarter for the Knicks to 4 for the Sixers. They were just first to everything. And these playoff games, when they're this even, and games 2 and 4 have been this even, are won on the margins. Sometimes it's just about fight. I hate, one thing I'm starting to not like? I do agree that there's so much narrative talk in basketball, but I think we're starting to stray. People are like, I hate when they just bog down the analysis to this team wanted it more and stuff like that. Sometimes that shit is real. Effort does matter in these games. And when you have a bunch of talented basketball players, sometimes those little hustle plays, those 50-50 balls in close games will decide it for you. And the Knicks, we talked about this last year with the Cavs, and it's definitely a characteristic of Tom Thibodeau teams. They fight. They got grit. And that's a great team for New York's fan base. And Jalen Brunson is an awesome guy leading that charge. It's amazing that they're doing this without Randall. But OG, you're starting to see now in these games in Philly, especially game 4 in that second half when he was guarding Embiid, what he could do. He straight up took over the game defensively, and OG. He had this one closeout that was just incredible that caused a shot clock violation, I forget who, I think it was Lowry, to pass out of the shot, and then Embiid got swatted by Precious Achiuwa. I mean, it was just amazing what he was doing. And the doubles, they were throwing doubles at Embiid, and Embiid did get the Sixers some good shots, but nobody could come through. And Tyrese Maxey, I have to say, he let them down. He did not close this game well at all. His shots weren't falling. The perimeter defense from the Knicks was good. And it was just gridlock, really. The Sixers couldn't score. And then Brunson closed the game better than any of them, weaving his way in that pick and roll, tough shots and ones. He had a franchise high. It comes down to this. It comes down to the Knicks making those little plays, attacking the glass and all that. And the best player on the Knicks outplaying the two best players on the Sixers. The Sixers have like no one to blame but themselves, to be honest. Like games 2 and 4 were right there for the taking. The Knicks role players played better, but it comes down to the stars. You know, the main theme was in the first 4 games, the one game that Embiid had a good fourth quarter, the Sixers won. So at the end of the day, it's like, how much do we blame Embiid? How injured is he? Like, you know, it's so weird. He just had 50. It's like, I don't think we should make excuses for him, quite frankly. Fourth quarter, OG Anunoby had 4 points and 3 rebounds, but those stats just don't do him justice. He and Josh Hart, Deuce McBride, Precious Achua played the entire fourth quarter. Brunson played 9 minutes and 35 seconds. Those other 2 minutes and 25 seconds were played by DiVincenzo. Brunson had 9 in the fourth. But for the Sixers, Embiid had 1 point in the fourth, and Maxey had 5. They had 16 points in the fourth quarter, were 1 for 9 from 3, and shot 25% in the fourth. Embiid was 0 for 5 in the fourth again, and everything is just too high. That's the problem with Embiid is he gets pushed out way too high. Jokic, that doesn't happen, and that literally is like the biggest difference for me of why I think Jokic is a better player. Like, it's not even just the passing. It's just literally that when it comes to posting up, he leans in. When it comes to scoring in isolation, he leans into the fact that he's 7 feet tall more than Joel Embiid. He gets way better post position, and that's it. It's very simple. That's what it is to me. Of course, he's a better passer out of the double, but Embiid's not a bad passer by any means. So, yeah, what a win for the Knicks. What a win for the Knicks. Without Randall to be up 3-1, it is truly amazing. Let's read the lines. First for the Knicks, Precious Achua. By the way, Bogdanović got injured in this game and did not look good. Precious Achua played 20 minutes, had 1 point, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and 4 blocks. He was a plus 11. I would say a pretty damn good 0 for 5 game. So best wishes to Bogdanović, by the way. He had a great game 1, and that was a difference maker in that one. Deuce McBride, 26.5 minutes, 13 points and 4 rebounds, only 1 turnover, 4 for 7 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and 2 for 3 from the foul line. He has just been amazing in this series. He's got a good future. Starters for the Knicks, they all played 28-plus minutes. Dante DiVincenzo, 8 points. All of them came in the third quarter. 3 for 11 from the field, 2 for 7 from 3, so he didn't actually shoot that well. And then you have Isaiah Hartenstein, who I thought was just very solid yet again. His defense on Embiid was pretty solid, but not as good as OG, of course. 8 points, 4 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, 3 turnovers, which is a little much for the center, even though they do play make with Isaiah in the high post. 4 for 6 from the field, 0 for 2 from the foul line for Isaiah. Just seeing what he can do pisses me off, as I talked about in my video. Josh Hart, oh my God, what an insane stat line I'm looking at. 4 points, 17 rebounds. This is a shooting guard getting 17 rebounds. He's definitely the best rebounding guard in the league. That's like non-negotiable at this point. 5 offensive rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks, 5 turnovers, 0 for 7 from the field, 0 for 3 from 3, 4 for 8 from the foul line. 0-0-50 shooting splits, yet I think he was awesome. But those are the kind of guys that win you championships. I'm being straight up honest. Guys that can go 0 for 7 and then still win you games and still be effective. Those are the kind of guys that win. Lloyd Tackle Super Chat says Julius Randle for Paul George, Kawhi Leonard for Trae Young. Did you hear Lawrence Frank? What kind of questions are these, man? I appreciate the Super Chat, but like, what? Randle for Paul? I don't think Randle gets us. I mean, he would give us some size. Maybe he does get us closer to a chip. I don't know if the Knicks would do that. And then Leonard for Trae Young. I'd take Trae Young. But that's not happening, dude. Anyway. Appreciate the Super Chat, though. Who else were we talking about here? And then OG Anunoby, what a game. His best of the series thus far. 16 points, 14 rebounds. So when you look at that right there, 31 rebounds from OG and Hart combined. That tells you a lot. 16 points, 14 rebounds, 2 offensive rebounds, and some of them are huge. 3 blocks for OG, guarded Embiid and changed the game. Shot 8 for 16 from the field and was 0 for 4 from 3, so he was 8 for 12 from 2. Amazing game in 47 minutes. And then Brunson, a Knick record in the playoffs. Can you believe it? The storied history of the Knicks. of course, those 70s teams, as you're going to see when I do more film breakdowns, they had so many stars that like they won by committee. It was not one guy having to do so much. But the fact that he surpassed Bernard King's record, 47 points in a playoff game for the Knicks, the all-time franchise high, and to go along with 4 rebounds, 10 assists, 1 block, and 1 turnover on an efficient 18 for 34 shooting. 34 shots, and it didn't feel too much. 2 for 8 from the 3, 9 for 11 from the foul line, 43 minutes. This guy is special. Jalen Brunson, baby. And then the Sixers. By the way, the Knicks shot just 43% from the field, 26% from 3, 61.5% from the line. So they did not shoot well by any means. The Sixers did not shoot well either. 35% from the field, 27% from 3, 86% from the foul line. So they shot well from the foul line at least. For the Sixers, DeAnthony Melton returned in this game, but he only played 7 minutes and was irrelevant. A donut and 0 for 2 shooting. No minutes for Buddy Hield. He's been that bad. Paul Reed played just 4 minutes. Donut, 0 for 2. Cam Payne played 14 minutes, 5 points, 1 rebound, 1 block on 2 for 4 shooting, 1 for 3 from deep. He was okay. Nico Batum didn't give him anything. 7 rebounds, 1 assist, and some decent defense, but needed some of those shots to go in. He was 0 for 3 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3. Had his only point at the foul line on a dunk attempt. So, yeah, they only got 6 points off their bench, whereas Deuce McBride had 13 points by himself. So, definitely need a little bit more there. The starters all played 33 minutes or more. Kyle Lowry played 33 minutes, had 7 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, no turnovers, on 1 for 6 shooting and 1 for 4 from 3. I mean, look, he didn't shoot well, but I'm not going to say Lowry played badly when he's doing all that. And I don't think he played badly. I mean, that's what you have to expect. He's old. You know what? I think Lowry's best role at this point would be great to have him as the backup point guard, the veteran leadership. I think that would be fantastic. I think as your starting like shooting guard doesn't really make sense, but he has toughness. Then you have Kelly Oubre, who I think has just had a fantastic series, both ends of the floor. 19 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, no turnovers on 7 for 15 shooting, 3 for 7 from 3, and 2 for 2 from the foul line. Love the way he shot the 3. Love the way he's been aggressive, cutting to the basket and attacking closeouts. I think Kelly Oubre is doing his part. But talk about a guy who's not doing his part. My good old friend Tobias Harris. 4th straight game, I'm saying it. 10 points after having 6 in the first quarter. 8 rebounds on 4 for 10 shooting, 0 for 1 from 3. This guy's not shooting more than 10 shots. It's just embarrassing. And he's getting paid all that money. I mean, he is the biggest problem. I've made so many excuses for Tobias in the past. I've said he needs to be a 3rd option on a championship team. I thought that 4th option was a little too little for him to get a good rhythm. And he had a chance in 2021. He's having a chance now, and he's blowing it. He's lost all his confidence. If I'm the Sixers, it's a joke. You need to get rid of him. No offense to Tobias. He's done, man. It's a joke. Confidence is everything. He's got none of it. Tyrese Maxey just didn't come through this time. He did not come through. He'd been great in the first 3 games, but he didn't come through. And then, of course, game 2, a little questionable at the end. 23 points, 6 boards, 6 assists. These are growing pains for him. 1 steal, 1 turnover on 8 for 21 shooting, 3 for 9 from 3, 4 for 4 from the foul line in 43 minutes. Just not enough. Embiid, 27 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 4 turnovers on 7 for 19 shooting, just 37%, 1 for 6 from 3. 12 of his 27 points came at the foul line. He went 12 for 14 there in 44 minutes. It's just not good enough, honestly. Embiid, I think he was good in game 1, all things considered. And I think he was good enough in game 2 as well. But game 4 is not quite. So it's a tough loss, and they're on the verge of going out 4-1. Now we're going to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks and the Indiana Pacers game 4. Now this one, there was no Dame or Giannis, which is just so unfortunate for the Bucks, man. Really is. Second straight playoffs they're having to deal with not having Giannis. And Halliburton started out on Malik Beasley, who was in place of Dame starting. Nesmith guarding Middleton for most of the series. Nembhard against Bev. Miles Turner on Brook Lopez, and Siakam on Bobby Portis. And to start, both Lopez and Turner were in drop coverage. And Pat Bev, he was actually being really aggressive to start this game, going at Andrew Nembhard, doing a little too small. And he got a taunting tech for that. Siakam and Pat Bev each got taunting techs. So I just felt it was annoying. Like, let the men be men, for God's sake. And then Bobby Portis got ejected for fighting a little bit with Andrew Nembhard. So that was tough. I mean, now you're the Bucks without Portis, Giannis, and Dame. So it's just like the Brook Lopez and Chris Middleton show. And crazy enough, they actually made this a game for the majority of it because they stepped up. It was a neck and neck first quarter. And as someone that came in and made an instant impact for the Pacers was Obi Toppin. The fast pace really brings out his athleticism. He's been shooting the three ball well in the series so far. And when he gets on the break, he shows off what he can do. I haven't pulled up the stats for that game, but second quarter, the Bucks, they were really competing. I have to give it to them. They were not laying over and dying easily. Pat Bev was actually kind of playmaking in the pick and roll, trying to attack, make plays, guarding Tyrese Halliburton like he's done all series. But this was more about Halliburton. You know, both these games in Indiana have been more of Halliburton games than Siakam games, whereas the other games were largely Siakam games. In the first two games, where it was really just him in the mid post, attacking mismatches, getting downhill on the break, and he was just always in attack mode. By the way, is there a lag for the people watching on YouTube? Because my computer is getting kind of hot and I'm just toggling between browsers and windows and stuff like that, looking up stats and whatnot. But yeah, let me know if it's lagging or not. But yes, the Pacers in the second quarter had Tyrese Halliburton hedging on the screens against Middleton, so trying to keep Halliburton off of Chris Middleton. The Bucks were switching 2 through 4 on Pascal, and at times the Pacers had favorable matchups there, but it was mainly Halliburton starting to take advantage of Lopez in drop coverage with a lot of floaters and layups. But the Bucks, you have to give them so much credit for the way they competed in that first half. At halftime, the score was 64-67 Pacers. So they were in the game. Middleton had 13 at the half. Lopez had 12 at the half. Malik Beasley had 10 at the half. So they were in it. They were shooting 60%. The Pacers were shooting 52% from the field, though, and 54.5% from three. Miles Turner had 13 points and hit 3 threes in the first half on those pick and pops. Some weren't even on pick and pops. Some are just he gets the ball and he just sees space and throws it and goes in. Then Halliburton had 15 in the first half. Second half, though, it started with an Indiana avalanche. Tyrese Halliburton had 2 threes in a row and caused the Bucks to call timeout. And this is great to see Indiana, that building getting loud, and Halliburton just becoming that star and having those playoff games, his first playoff games of his career in front of that crowd. The Bucks, though, they were not going away. Brook Lopez had 5 straight points. One was a jump hook and one was a really deep three to make it a 76-81 game, and the Pacers called timeout. But after that, man, it was just kind of a barrage by Indiana. The quality you knew was eventually just going to show, and the Bucks wouldn't have enough to keep up without all those guys. They got hot. And it starts with Miles Turner, who was amazing in both games in Indiana. I mean, the pick and pop, finishing around the basket. He had this insane dunk. That was like Dwight Howard's Superman dunk where he just threw it in. Dwight Howard's dunk in the dunk contest. Legit. It was crazy. Good defense as well. And Nesmith, I thought he was, even though Middleton was scoring on him a good amount, and I loved how aggressive Middleton was being. And he was actually taking him off the bounce and going to the rim, mid-range. But Nesmith was doing as solid a job as you could do. Every time that it was someone not named Aaron Nesmith guarding Middleton, felt like he scored. But Miles Turner, I mean, the dunk, the corner three that capped off a 7-0 run, made the Bucks call time. And he was so fired up. Of course, he's the longest tenured Pacer, but it's so awesome to see that kind of emotion. He was drafted by the Pacers. He was in trade rumors for so long. And now you're seeing, the barrage of threes and, Andrew Nembhard, another homegrown guy for the Pacers, doing a lot of good things in that third quarter, turning the corner, playing defense, showing that Gonzaga basketball IQ. So in the third quarter, the Pacers outscored the Bucks 31-21. They hit 7 threes in the third. 3 from Halliburton, 2 from Nembhard, 1 from Turner, and 1 from Nesmith. Siakam had 5 assists in the third. So his points may not have been as high, but he was still playmaking. And Middleton kind of went cold in that third, 2 for 8 in the quarter. As far as the fourth, Brook Lopez had 5 straight. Actually, no, the jump hook and the deep three was actually in the beginning of the fourth to make it 92-98. Pacers called timeout, so I forgot they actually made a push again, but then that's when Miles Turner went insane. 2 straight threes. The first was on a pick and pop, and then they set a flare screen for him to come up and shoot a three. I mean, Porzingis, Chet, Turner, besides that, how many centers are you seeing in history, Cat, you could say as well, coming off flare screens for threes? Insane. 108-94. The Pacers went up, and then the Bucks went scoreless for 4+ minutes. Nembhard had 3 layups, just turning the corner on screens, and that was it. Miles Corner had a corner 3 dagger to seal the game, 122-105. The final score was 126-113. Moral of the story: the Pacers just had way too much without Giannis, Dame, and Portis, and their whole starting five is playing well. Obi Toppin and TJ McConnell are coming in and playing well. And the Pacers had a franchise playoff record for 3-pointers in a game. And you got to see, like, you're seeing now why the Pacers had the most explosive offense for so long this season. And Siakam just makes them that much better. They hit 22 threes in game 4 to take a 3-1 lead. Let's read the lines for the Milwaukee Bucks. Gallo, our good old friend Gallo, got 13 minutes in this game. 6 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists on 3 for 5 shooting. Jay Crowder got 13 minutes as well. 2 points on 1 for 4 shooting and 0 for 2 from 3. AJ Green got 21.5 minutes, had 8 points and 3 rebounds on 3 for 7 shooting and 2 for 6 from 3. And then Andre Jackson Jr. got 25 minutes, 6 points, 6 boards, 7 assists, 3 steals and a block, 2 turnovers on 2 for 4 shooting, and all those shots were threes. He was a +9. I actually think he's been playing well in this series when he's gotten the chance. Pat Connaughton, 4 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists on 2 for 6 shooting and 0 for 2 from 3 in 22 minutes. Not much from Connaughton. So in the Bucks bench, it's just unfair because they don't have their starters. So guys that would normally be on the bench are starting. It's not very good. The starters, Pat Bev, played just 20 minutes and 37 seconds. I don't know why. He had 9 points and 4 assists on 3 for 6 shooting and 1 for 1 from 3. 2 for 2 from the foul line. I don't know why he didn't play more. Bobby Portis played just 7 minutes, 4 points, 3 boards before he got ejected. Malik Beasley, he actually had a very good game shooting the ball. Defensively, though, not great. 20 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists on 8 for 12 shooting and 4 for 7 from 3. So he had it going on shooting the ball. And then Brook Lopez, what a game for him. 27 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, 3 turnovers. But, drop coverage is going to be hard against this team, especially with a pick and pop center. 12 for 18 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3 for Lopez. In the next game, I think you might have to consider putting Turner in the short roll instead of having him pick and pop for threes because he's being lethal so far. Chris Middleton, I love the aggression. It was just, can't really get mad at 25, 10, and 5. You really can't. That's 10 rebounds, by the way. 4 turnovers for him. So that's not good. 9 for 22 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3, 7 for 8 from the foul line. Look, he wasn't very efficient, but 22 shot attempts. You got to respect that. For the Pacers, who shot 52% from the field and 51 from 3, 67 from the foul line. Ben Shepherd played 14 minutes, had 8 points, 2 rebounds, 1 steal on 2 for 2 shooting, and both his shots were threes, 2 for 2 from the foul line. Obi Toppin, another very good performance off the bench. 13 points for him on 6 for 9 shooting and 1 for 2 from 3. That's very solid. TJ McConnell, 8 points, 4 boards, 8 assists on 4 for 11 shooting and 0 for 3 from deep. So that's a guy, even when he doesn't shoot well like that game, he still makes a positive impact. Then the starters all played 32+ minutes. Let's start with Aaron Nesmith. What a solid 2-way game for him. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do in the next series against Brunson, assuming that the Pacers and the Knicks get it done. 13 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 blocks for Nesmith, 3 for 6 from the field, and 3 for 5 from 3 and 4 for 4 from the foul line. Really solid stuff overall. Andrew Nembhard, what a way he's playing. Second-year guy. Well, my audio cut out for a sec. A second-year guy showing his high IQ stuff, playing hard on both ends of the floor. Yes, he has his limitations defensively due to his size, but he's a high IQ player and is playing really well right now. 15 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists on 6 for 9 shooting, and he can shoot from everywhere on the floor. 3 for 4 from 3 in 38 minutes. Great game for Nembhard. He's been really good in games 2, 3, and 4. And then how about Miles Turner? 29 points again, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 blocks on 10 for 17 shooting, 7 for 9 from 3. Your center shooting, making 7 threes. It's just insane. Super chat. Oh my God. $40. You are the GOAT, Jalen. Amazing. Thank you so much. Yo, Dime Dropper. Thanks for the hard work this season. Get 2-3 off our team. I'm so with you. You are the man, dude. I love you. I can't thank you enough for that. But God, let's see. Yeah, amazing game for Miles Turner. 2 for 6 in the foul line, though. Don't love that, but 29 points in each of the games. Incredible. And then Siakam, almost a triple-double. 13 points, 9 boards, 7 assists, 2 steals and a block on 6 for 14 shooting, 0 for 4 from 3. He had some good looks that didn't go, but overall, really solid game from Pascal. 1 for 3 from the foul line. And then Tyrese Halliburton. I would say Turner was the player of the game. These 2 games. Of course, he had the game winner in game 3. 24 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 3 turnovers on 8 for 16 shooting, 5 for 12 from 3, 3 for 3 from the foul line in 32 minutes. Again, don't let the 4 assists fool you. He's getting tons of hockey assists and stuff like that. So the Pacers taking care of business, up 3-1 on the verge of going to the next round. And now the final game we're going to talk about is Celtics Heat game 4. And this was another game that showed us just how good Derek White is at basketball. To start the game, KP was on Bam. Tatum was on Caleb Martin. Jaylen Brown on Nikola Jovic. Derek White on Jaime Jaquez. Drew Holiday on Tyler Hero. But the only consistent matchups there were Drew Holiday on Hero and KP on Bam. Tatum, JB, and Derek White would switch here and there. And I mean on possession-by-possession basis. On the other side, Bam on KP. Hero on Jaylen Brown. Jovic on Tatum. Caleb Martin on Drew Holiday. Jaime Jaquez on Derek White. Switching 1 through 4. But I don't know. I don't remember if they were – I think they were not letting Hero switch onto the Jays. KP was in drop coverage, and it started off with Derek White hitting every shot. I mean, this guy was just making threes, 16 points in the first quarter, getting to the basket. Now, however, Hero and Bam got off to a solid start, and throughout the first half, the Heat were generating a lot of good looks, but they were not hitting threes, and it just showed what I said in game 2 was real. They had an outlier shooting game, and they're not going to have that again. They don't have Jimmy Butler. They don't have Terry Rozier. They don't have the offense to keep up. The Celtics are better defensively. They're better offensively. And it's just too easy for them. And they just started blowing it open slowly but surely. And when Derek White is just going off like that on both ends of the floor, it's just, what can you do? So I didn't even watch the fourth quarter. It was just too easy for the, what's it called? For the Celtics. Just way too easy for the Celtics. 3-1, and I expect them to finish out the series in Boston in game 5. Trying to get the stats up, but for whatever reason right now, NBA TV. Oh, NBA. Here we go. So, yes, the Celtics win game 4, both games in Miami by a score of, why is it not showing up? Oh, there we go. 104-84. No, that was the game 3, 104-84. Why can't I pull this score up? But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to this episode. We're about to wrap this up, and I'll be trying to just keep watching games, and hopefully we'll be caught up very soon. But there we go. 102-88 was the final score. Celtics over the Heat in game 4. Let's read the lines for the Miami Heat. Patty Mills got 22 minutes in this game, 9 points on 3 for 8 shooting, 1 for 4 from 3. He's washed and passed it. Kevin Love played just 6 minutes. Donut, they went away from him. DeLon Wright played 29 minutes, 2 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist. I think he's actually giving you what you need in this series. He was a +4, which is funny to talk about. Anyone being the plus minus there, but yeah, he's been good in all the postseason games. Haywood Highsmith had a rough shooting game. 3 points, 2 rebounds, 1 block, and a turnover on 1 for 6 shooting and 0 for 3 from deep. The starters for the Heat, Jovic played 16 minutes. I don't know why he plays so little. I think they think he can get picked on defensively, but I think he offers some stuff. 3 points, 3 rebounds for him. He's not that bad defensively from what I've seen, though. I'm going to watch him more, though. 1 for 4 from the field, and all his shots were threes. Caleb Martin, 18 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 1 turnover on 6 for 14 shooting, 4 for 8 from 3. He started off cold from 3, but ended up getting it going towards the end. Jaime Jaquez, first game and not in double figures that I can remember. 9 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and a block on 4 for 10 shooting and 0 for 2 from 3. So did not quite have his shot going like that. The Heat as a team shot 41% from the field, 27% from 3, 75% from the foul line. So not a good shooting game for them at all. And then Hero, they needed more than 19 points. That's for sure. 19 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 turnovers. So not quite good enough. 8 for 17 from the field, 2 for 6 from 3. Then Bam, I thought he was awesome. No fault of his, to be honest. He's been great. Every year he's improving, it seems. Oh, no. He looked like he didn't improve much after the bubble for a while, but this year and then last year, I think I saw some strides. 25 points, 17 rebounds. His mid-range is looking good. His little turnaround's looking good. I like his post game. He's got to keep doing it. He's got to keep going to it. 25 points, 17 boards, 5 assists for him. 3 turnovers on 11 for 22 shooting. Finally made his first playoff 3, 1 for 3 from deep, 2 for 3 from the foul line. For the Celtics, who shot not even that well from the field, 42%, but they shot 38 from 3 and then 89 from the line, 16 for 18. Took a 3-1 lead. They only played 9 guys. Cornette played 3 minutes, 2 points, 4 boards on 1 for 2 shooting. Sam Hauser played 16 and had a donut on 0 for 2 shooting and 3 rebounds. Peyton Pritchard played 19 and had a donut as well, 0 for 4 from the field, 3 assists, 2 rebounds. Then Horford, he had a solid game, 7 points, 8 boards, 2 assists, and a steal. So they only had 9 bench points. The Heat, though, only had 14 bench points. The starters, though, for the Celtics, Kristaps Porzingis played just 13 minutes. He did not play in the second half with an injury. He had calf injury, so let's keep an eye on that. 7.3 rebounds. They're going to definitely need Porzingis, and he's had injury problems all season. 1 for 5 from the field, though, 1 for 3 from deep, but 4 for 4 from the line. I thought he was still playing pretty well. Drew Holiday still hasn't shot too well in any of these games, and partially it's because he just shoots pretty reckless shots at times, and he always has. But his defense is awesome. Does other things. 11 points, 6 boards, 6 assists, 1 steal on 4 for 10 shooting, and 1 for 4 from 3, 2 for 2 from the foul line in 38 minutes. Talked about Josh Hart being one of those guys that he can shoot poorly and still affect games. That's why Drew Holiday has a ring. Let's go with Jason Tatum next. He still played pretty well, but it wasn't the best game for him. 20 points, 11 rebounds, 5 assists. So a lot of double-doubles, a little triple-double for him in game 1 in this series. 5 for 14 from the field, though, 2 for 6 from 3, but 8 for 8 from the foul line in 37 minutes. JT has a command on this series, and he's easily the best player in it. Jaylen Brown didn't have a great shooting game, though, after a very solid game 3. 17 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals, 6 turnovers for JB. Got to be better there. 6 of the 10. 7 for 18 from the field and 1 for 3 from deep. 2 for 4 from the foul line. So not the best game for Jaylen Brown there, but not too bad. You can't complain when the guy's plus 17 and the team is winning by 14. But the man of the hour, the player of the game, Derek White. I thought he played well in game 3, but game 4, 38 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks. Most blocks of any guard this year. 1 turnover. 15 for 26 from the field. Get this. 8 for 15 from 3. No free throws. Is that a Steph Curry stat line? 8 for 15 from 3. I mean, they weren't even all open, too. But the transition 3 with White is deadly. God, I mean, I have nothing to say. Derek White, maybe he should have been an all-star. Maybe he should have been. Ruben Calvo, thank you so much. $10 super chat says your passion for basketball is so refreshing. Talking about stuff on the court is why I listen to you. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. But yeah, that's it, guys. That's it for me. Now to the live subscribers waiting patiently in the chat. Super chats are turned on if you want to drop $1 or a dime. Peace.